Hello bass family and welcome to Everything Bass. Today we are moving on with the hyperneck study and this is unit 5. So in the previous hypernecks I've stayed with strings that were next to each other. Like most of the exercises played with the D string and the G string. Like this. Now one benefit of that is the musical alphabet is alphabetical when you play like that. So it's like E, F, G, A, B, C. That's the notes in order as they occur in music. Then if I went up to F, it did F, G, A, B, C, D. So it's helpful in learning this new concept that the notes are all adjacent and it helps you memorize the fingerboard and be a better player. But today I'm going to break that up a little bit. I'm going to introduce neighboring strings. So today's exercise starts on the A string and we're going to start with the B. And we're back in the key of C for this one because I know we changed keys in a previous unit. So we got B, C, D. So we're playing the notes B, C, D on the A string. B, C, D. Then we skip the D string and we go all the way to the G string and play A, B, C. So now we're no longer like playing neighboring notes on the musical alphabet. We're skipping a section, and that makes you rely a little bit more on memory of where your notes are. I encourage you to be very slow. Just take one hand position at a time. And I know it sounds dorky, and you might not want to do it, but if you really want to get this information in your inside you quickly, say the notes as you play them. So you would literally say, like on the A string, go B, C, D, then go A, B, C. So it's a nice warm-up too. If you're finding a hard time getting a big block of practice time, you can kind of combine things by doing the hyperneck study because it's a technical exercise, it's a good warm-up. Protect your hands. It's teaching you the fingerboard. You're going to get your shifting down. There's a lot of benefits. So this is a good kind of, it's hyperneck study named for that because there's a lot of things that'll advance your playing fast. It's going to get you understanding the neck a lot faster. So what happens after you play measure 1? Well, measure 2 you slide up to the C and you're going to play C, D, E. Now these are all whole steps, which means they're all separated by a fret. You're going to play C, then you got D on the 5th fret, and then you got E on the 7th fret. Now with that, if your hands are tiny and you can't do the stretch like that, it's okay to shift, but here's how I want you to shift. I want you to play with your index finger on the C, shift with your middle finger on the D, and then grab with your pinky. Don't do one finger on each one because then you have to crisscross and it's shift back and it's going to be sloppy. But if you can get used to that, then what that does is look where my hand is. I ended with my pinky on the E. There's my B, right there on the G string, 4th fret. So I've got this. Now, as you imagine, we're staying with just natural notes. We're moving up to the next natural note in the sequence and playing 6 notes. So you really can kind of just figure it out. I don't need to demonstrate the whole thing. If you want a visual, then definitely, absolutely, become a Patreon subscriber. Go to patreon.com/everythingbass. I'll put the link in the comment section below. And for a very, very small monthly fee, you can actually download all this material. Every video will have a sheet. I think every video has a sheet. And it's written, most of them are written in standard notation if you happen to sight read music, but also in tab. You don't have to sight read music. And you'll be able to see it, and maybe it helps you retain. I found this to be important when I was learning. I was a very visual learner. I like to see someone do it, but also I wanted to write it out. I was constantly doing neck diagrams and things like that, which helped me kind of retain the information. So I think that you find the written material helpful. So yeah, practice slowly. This is another one where I really want you guys to not put on a metronome or a drum machine at first. Just play and take your time. Only move to a new pattern when you have the other pattern done. Be courageous and actually say the notes as you play them. There is no too slow. That's a myth. You practice as slow as you need to practice to execute it. And believe me, the way our brains are made is amazing because if you do something enough consistently and the right way, naturally it's going to get easier. You'll be able to play faster. You just have to be patient with yourself. This is all attainable material, and I really want you to just work at it. The biggest fault I see is students try to go too fast. They get frustrated and they stop. And there's no stopping. Not in our family. We got to keep moving on. We got to keep getting better. So today's Encore item is actually something pretty special to me. When I first started playing bass, it was 1985, and I was working at a guitar shop, and I decided I wanted to play bass. Situation was created where I needed to replace the bass player in our band. And Mike Zalkowski, one of the great co-workers I had at Music Pro in Chico, California, he recommended this book, Mel Bay's Deluxe Jazz and Rock Bass Method. Now, it's by Vincent Bredice, who is such an amazing teacher. So I bought this book, and in all honesty, at first it was a little over my head because I didn't sight read. I sight read treble clef because I played trumpet in high school, actually middle school, but I didn't really learn bass clef. Well, this taught me how to sight read. It's a really great method. It's actually similar to the method I kind of evolved when teaching private lessons, and what I'll be ultimately teaching you guys on this channel. Here's how cool this book is and how you can judge the success of a book and the material in it. That this was written, published many years ago. I'm looking for the date, but I can't find it. So in the 80s this was written, and it's still available. There's a lot of materials that they go for a while, and then because they're out of date or stylistically something's changed, they'll go out of print and you can't find them anymore. I just looked, and this is on Amazon. So that really kind of backs up how important this book is. By the way, this is my second one because my first one disintegrated. It had different kind of a cone binding, and it just, of all the times in my gig bag and whatnot, it just disintegrated. Also, side note, when I went to Musicians Institute, I was so excited. One of the teachers there, Eddie Coryell, actually used this book. And it made me so happy that here's a teacher who was teaching on the same book. So I was able to go and ask him questions. If you are taking private lessons and you do get this book, absolutely bring it into your teacher, show it to him. If you run into a problem or a page doesn't make sense, Pismo says hi, as always. Hello, Pismo. Then email me. I can help. Just email me what page you're working on, what's the question you have, or you can even put it in the comments below. But I find the comment section's a little bit clunky for having a quick, go back and forth with conversation. But Deluxe Jazz and Rock Bass Method, Mel Bay, really cool. A neat way. It was some of the first time I'd seen some of this material presented in this way. If you're also working on sight reading, I like it. It's a very good primer, but it goes into quite a bit of detail and works your way up the neck. I think it's a really comprehensive, good start to reading. So there you have it. So we got Hyperneck Study Unit 5, and we got Mel Bay's Deluxe Jazz and Rock Bass Method book. Man, I'm really enjoying this, guys. I hope you are too. Thank you for the comments. Thank you for the emails. I really appreciate also you getting involved with the Facebook group. Look us up. If you haven't, it's an open group. Just go to Facebook and search Everything Bass with Dale Titus. That whole thing, because if you search Everything Bass, I believe it actually takes you to a fishing group called Everything Bass. So Everything Bass with Dale Titus, and you'll see every day I'm posting stuff there, things to hopefully inspire you, keep you practicing. So there's a lot of content. I want YouTube to work with Facebook. I'm getting the Instagram thing going. Ultimately, we'll have a Twitter account. So it's just multiple ways for us to communicate. I really don't want this to be a one-way conversation. It's so important for me to have you all chime in. How did this exercise work? How did the previous 4 Hyperneck studies work? Did you get the book? What did you think of the book? All these things I really want to see grow into a conversation. I'd love to spend hours at night just replying to posts and things like that. So let's make that happen. As always, please like, share, subscribe. If you know a bass player in your community, or heck, you just know a bass player and he or she's not involved, please send them a link, get them, share something, let them get involved with this so that we can all have a bigger family. I love big families. I come from a big family and I love big families. Pismo says goodbye, and I'll see you at the next video. Pismo, seriously, I mean, what's the deal? You're not even, are you a bass player? Yeah? You're a bass player? Okay. Everyone loves Pismo.